So hello YouTube, this is WF7I Homebrew, and I just thought I'd do some fun videos today of comparing noise levels at different locations. And this right here is on my kitchen counter in a new home that we're moving into. I found out inside the home it is very noisy. It's actually noisier than where we're living now. So it's kind of a good comparison, I guess, to start off with to show you sort of, how bad it can be, I guess, inside of a newly constructed home with a lot of electrical outlets, a lot of lights, and a lot of noise. So on the right, I've got my Texan PL660, as you can see. I'm still pretty new to this radio, but I like it a lot. It's a lot of fun to operate portable with the battery. The battery lasts a long time. It'll charge its own battery when you plug it into the wall. I gave it an overnight charge and it's lasted me several days with quite a bit of operating. So it does really well in sideband. It seems very sensitive. I like that it doesn't have the chuffing as the XH Data does, which is next to it. However, I do enjoy both radios. And I've got them both here side by side just because it's kind of interesting because they each have different displays, different ways to record signal. And, it's interesting to kind of see them side by side. So I randomly just tuned into the 20 meter band, a little bit above the ham bands, I don't know, maybe 19 meters. You can see on the Texan, the display, we got about S3, S4. And you can hear AC noise. And depending upon how I orient the antenna, it can definitely be up to S5. If I get closer to the lights here, I got some LED lights. It's going to be quite noisy. Definitely S5 and above S5. And you can hear the buzzing sound. And really it's throughout the spectrum. It's just broad spectrum power line noise really throughout the house here, it looks like. And I've gone to different bedrooms and things. Kitchen's not really much worse than the other rooms. They're all pretty noisy. Occasionally a shortwave signal will kind of burst through the noise. And that's just with the telescopic. There's really no point putting a long wire antenna on there. I've got this included wire antenna, which is quite nice actually, with the Texan. But there's no point putting that on there when there's that much noise. It'll just make it a lot worse. This one here gives you, the XH Data DO808 actually gives you a decibel type display. So it's decibel microvolts dBu. And it's kind of nice in a way. You can kind of get an idea of relative signal levels with that. So I kind of like that actually. I also like having an LED display, LCD display or a needle, but having the decibel kind of indication is different. You don't really see that a lot. I don't use this radio a lot, to be honest, but I do break it out once in a while. And you can hear the noise as well, same kind of thing. So here it says dBu, about 17 dBu. If I bring this up towards the light, you can see it gets stronger and stronger. Now it's 24 dBu, 23. So, a good 5-6 dB more noise up there. And as I walk towards the window, you'll see it will drop down a little bit. It should. Maybe about 17, 15. So what I'm going to do is kind of walk around with these radios different places and show you the different relative signal noise levels. I've already measured the noise at my other house. And I didn't measure with the XH Data, but I know with the Texan, I've got 2 or 3 S units of noise. This house is more noisy than my previous house inside. Outside, I can tell you with the long wire, or with this wire antenna here, the Texan had 4 or 5 S units of noise just walking around in the backyard and stuff like that. I don't even have any overhead power lines, but there's just so much noise in that neighborhood there with the houses and everything. It was pretty much full-scale noise when I put that longer antenna on there. the telescopic, the noise would drop down to like S1, S0 when I went to the backyard. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and go out to the deck and see how that does. Alrighty, so I'm back. This is out on the deck. And as you can see in the distance, there's not really much out here. There's a field, and way in the distance, kind of out beyond here, there is some power lines. I would say, I don't know, 300 or 400 feet away. Not ideal to have those out there, but they've been very quiet, fortunately. Really haven't seen much RF noise coming from those guys. Other than that, there's just woods out here. There's really nothing out there. There's a neighbor down over here. There's another neighbor down this way, way beyond the trees. You can't see them at all. So not a lot out here, pretty quiet. So I put my radios just on the deck railing here. And I got the text in here tuned into something. We don't know exactly what it is. And if I tune around here, you can see the noise level dropped to 0. So you can remember I was S5 basically inside the house, just a few feet away inside the kitchen. Just stepping outside into the deck, that's enough to bring that noise all the way down to 0 on the needle with the telescopic. So that's a key. So we're talking about the telescopic here, not with any sort of external antenna at all. Okay, so kind of just doing a quick scan through the bands here. You can pull up WWV. And you can see WWV's coming in S5. So you can see quite a bit of signal to noise ratio there. I mean, drops all the way to 0. And you got WWV. So I go over here to XH data. The dBm. Okay, I got cut off there a second ago. This is XH data on the same deck, and the dBm value is about 8. So I mean, we went from about 22, 23 down to 8. So that is pretty significant. So what would that be? 18, 19, 20. It's about 15 dB. So we're talking like maybe 3 S units. This was a standard S meter. Quite a major drop in signal, I mean in noise. I mean noise is a signal as well, but so I'm kind of roughly in the same area here. And forgive the jerky video, I'm holding an iPhone here. So I go up to WWV. Again, we got 33 dB at peak there, 36, 40. So about 30 dB signal to noise ratio. Or 20, according to this scale, it's showing about 20. So pretty decent. Definitely signals are going to be much more readable now. You see a noise drop down to 10. So that's nice. So what I'm going to do next is put a wire antenna up, kind of a temporary one, and we'll do it from the deck here, and then we'll do it out in the field. All right, so I'm back. And what I've done is run a wire antenna out to that ladder, probably about 20 feet away maybe, not even that far, 15 feet. And that's a little supplied antenna from Texan. I just got it on the 15 megahertz WWV. And so that's coming in strong. Let's see here. Pretty clean signal, really. Now if I tune away, there's my noise. Let's see, I went from much less noise to now I've got about an S3, S4 because of the longer antenna picking up more noise. And it's still better than inside the house. If you can recall, that was just pegged out at S5, but it's come up quite a bit. I mean, that's really not ideal to have that much noise. So if this was a standard backyard kind of scenario, kind of like where I'm living now, my other house I'm moving from, backyard might go out to that post out there. If you can see that little corner post, maybe a little further depending upon your yard. But honestly, that would be your typical sort of situation to string up a wire antenna out in your yard, a long wire, and you can see, it's bringing in more signal, but definitely the noise is higher. Quite a bit higher. I got some sideband guys in there, and won't belabor it too much here. I just always like to play with these radios, of course. You guys know coming in real good.
Yeah, and the WPH concert this weekend. Keep me out of mischief anyway, Bob. W0.
So you can see it's still pretty noisy on sideband as well. Sideband actually looks a little noisier than it was on AM. Oops, I don't want that. Got to figure out how to use my radio again here. Let's see. Shortwave. There we go. And let's see what's going on here. I got the narrow. There we have the wide bandwidth. So here we're back in at S4. So if I go over here, without knocking my radio off here at the balcony, be careful with that. Let's see. Plug in my antenna here. Turn this guy. I think he's still on. Yeah. So the noise level went back up to a 22, 21 dBu. So kind of like what it was inside the house. Pretty noisy. And again, I can go back up to WWV. So we still have about a 30 dB signal to noise. Maybe pushing 40 dB. Yeah, about 60, 61 at peak. And our noise level, again, is about 26. So almost 40 dB signal to noise. So we gained a little bit of signal to noise, it looks like. Gained a lot more noise, but the signal to noise is a little bit better. So my final thing I'm going to do here from this property is I'm going to go out to this field here, and you can see that bush way out there. I'm going to use that as a support. I know that's a very quiet area. It's pretty far away from the house, pretty far away from everything. Out in that woods is even better, probably a little better, but this will get a good idea. So here I am out in the field, so I've got it on the bush here. You can see I do have power lines down at the base of the hill down there. It's about an acre away or so. A couple houses. Nothing really close. I mean, my house is the closest here. And then I've got the bush and the little wire going to the Texan. So you can see the noise dropped down to about an S2. Now this does change depending upon frequency, depending upon how I move this thing up and down. If I go up to like here, raise it up a little higher, I get S3. There is still some noise here, it seems, anyway. Unless it's just the radio picking up, out of band stuff. There does seem to be a signal there. That's probably from my cell phone, actually. Cell phone generates noise too, unfortunately. Well, let's just say it's around an S2 on average, sometimes S3. And I don't really have a good second hand here, so you have to bear with me. Here's a WWV. So WWV is coming in pretty good. So I'm going to do the same thing with the XH data. XH data D808 with the same antenna. About a 19 or 20, so not ideal. Still some noise. But it's kind of same noise that I had, with the wire over by the deck. Might be a little lower, a couple dB lower. And I'm just trying different positions here to see what that does and if the camera can pick it up. So yeah, it goes up to about 23 as I raise the antenna up a little higher. Go down to a more comfortable position here, about 22. So let's see what we got for WWV. Hold on just a moment here. So we got WWV.
Coordinated universal time.
5960 for the signal. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, right there. 62, 66. Yeah, it's come up a little bit. just for some comparison, I went out to the woods a little further out and tried it from there. Noise went down a little bit. I was seeing noise about 18 dBu instead of 22. It fluctuates a little bit. I don't know how accurate this meter is. So I don't know if you could hear that. The Hawaiian voice was in there. So I'm actually getting WWVH right now, 15 megahertz. And about 2 or 3 in the afternoon here, local time. So let's see, 13, 14, 15. About 1900 hours to 20, not quite 2000 hours UTC, 1900 hours probably. So that's kind of the situation here in Virginia. Now if I tune off, hold on just a second, I'll tune off, get the noise reading here and you can sort of see that. So dropped down about 17 or 18, so supposedly I gained 3 or 4 dB, which is about an S, maybe half an S unit. Depends on how your meter's calibrated. So that tells me that it might be a little bit advantageous to be out here in the woods if I can. So there's the bush over there, tree thing, and the house. So that's pretty much it on that. I think I'm going to stop it here, and I want to go ahead and record from, I guess I got to rotate it this way. I'm going to go ahead and try to record from really far away, out in the middle of a park area where there's absolutely no power lines or no civilization. So we'll give that a shot as a final comparison. So I will go ahead and just show the Texan out here in the woods real quick too, before I go off to the other locations. So strong signal again, WWV, with the wire antenna going off into the bushes here in the woods, edge of the woods. And when I tune off of there, I get about 2 S units of noise. So it's a little better. It's about an S unit better, I would say, than out at that tree. So alrighty, we will continue this in a moment. So I'm out on the Blue Ridge Parkway in Virginia. There's literally nothing out here at all. I mean, there's no power lines, there's nothing, there's no civilization, there's no vehicles driving around, nothing at all. Still got about 1 to 2 S units of noise on the Texan. So I'm thinking that that is atmospheric noise that this is just registering at this point, which makes me feel better about my property. You can see where I'm at here. There's nothing out here at all. I mean, it's a huge drop off, huge view. I'm just gonna pull off here, and other than a couple passing cars, that's what you got. And my antenna, which just fell off, was just here on the tree. So I'm gonna put it back up and try the XH data. All right, XH data, same antenna in the woods here, Blue Ridge Parkway, middle of nowhere. Noise floor I'm getting just below 15 megahertz again is about 19 to 20 with the same antenna. So that's my antenna, if you can see that wire going out over there. So pretty good. I mean, it's about the same as my property again. So let's see how WWV is coming in on this.
19 hours, 45 minutes.
There's WWV.
Universal time.
There's the solar indices from Hawaii. Hold on just a second, it's going to give the solar condition. No, I guess WWV does it 15 minutes after the hour or something. Anyway, pretty quiet, pretty good signal here, and I am kind of on a mountaintop. There's WWVH. So being on a mountaintop, that usually helps a little bit with lower angle reception of lower angle signals on the ionosphere, so longer distance signals. Yeah, so I think it's doing pretty good at my property now. I was thinking my property might have had a lot of noise, but honestly, even up here, I'm getting pretty close to the same noise floor, around 19, 20. So I think I'm pretty good with that. So I think that's going to conclude today's test as I look out over the valley there. For those of you who can get out to the wilderness like this, it's a nice way to spend your time doing some operating, doing some listening. And we're getting into the warmer weather months now, so it'll be really good time to get out. So 7 3s, and thank you for watching all this.